Okay, the next part of our book starts off with talking about the 4 Graces in a row. So we have all these girls named Grace. We have Grace W, Grace L, me, and then Grace F, who is the big meanie. She's the one that this Grace has been talking about, the one that we are reading about, and she kind of complains about Grace F a little bit too much. There are 4 girls named Grace in my class. Miss Lois, our new teacher, said, "We'll have to do something about that. It's too confusing with all you Graces." Then she said, "Grace Wallace, you will be Grace W. Grace Francis can be Grace F. And Grace Landowski can be Grace L." Right then, Grace L stood up and said, "Pretty please, Miss Lois, can I be Gracie instead of Grace L?" I knew I was next, so I said, "And I want to be just Grace." "Perfect," said Miss Lois, and then she went down the list of everyone's new names and wrote them in her special book. Let's see, we have Grace W, Grace F, Gracie, and just Grace. Then Grace F stood up and started waving her arms like a crazy person. Remember, Grace F is the meanie, trying to get Miss Lois's attention. She gave me a mean look and said, "How come she gets to be called Grace and I have to be Grace F? It's not fair. I want to be the one called Grace." Miss Lois seemed a little grumpy that we were still talking about the Grace name thing. So this is Miss Lois being grumpy. She has big ears like a monkey. She can probably hear really good. I think I make that face sometimes as the teacher. She does look grumpy. Look at her eyebrows. Urgh. She made a big sigh and said, "You're right, dear. It's not fair for anyone to be called Grace. So that's why Grace Stewart wants to be called just Grace." Both Grace F and I said, "Just Grace?" at the same time. "That's weird," said Grace F. I tried to tell Miss Lois that she'd made a mistake and that I wanted to be called just Grace, not just Grace. But she put her hand up in the air and said, "That's enough, girls. Let's move on to the 3 Owens." And that's how it happened, that I have the stupidest name in the whole class, or maybe even the whole entire world. I don't want to be just Grace. Look at her with her little crown on. Next thing we're talking about is boy things. There's something gross in there. Who knows what that is? Boy things. Number 1, spitting and making burping noises. Number 2, not caring that your shirt or pants are sticky with food or mud or worse, mucus. Number 3, really liking big and flashy superheroes, the kinds with capes. And number 4, drawing comics. There are some girls who do boy things and don't care who knows it. Ruth, a girl in my class from last year, always makes huge burps after she drinks milk. Everyone says it's gross, but you can tell that some of the boys are really impressed, especially Sammy Stringer. He's always trying to learn stuff to become more disgusting. Then there are other girls who might do boy things but don't want anyone to know. I'm one of those. I don't spit, make burp sounds, or wear disgusting, filthy clothes, but when I feel grumpy or sad, it sometimes makes me feel better if I draw a comic. I don't know why it works that way, but it does, and that seems like a good thing. The day I got my Just Grace name, I needed to feel better really fast, so I drew a new, not-so-super adventure as soon as I got home. It would have been better to watch an episode of Unlikely Heroes, but I'm not allowed to watch TV before dinner. Not-so-super comics are superheroes who only have little powers, but still they use them to help people who need it. I got the idea from my favorite TV show in the whole world, Unlikely Heroes. Mimi, my best friend ever, says that Unlikely Heroes is the kind of show that makes you want to be a better person just by watching it, which is true and important. And here is her not so super but still good comic. So let's read it. So here's the first box. "You can't have this ball, it's mine. All mine! Haha. No one else can have a turn. I'm going to swing forever. The swing is mine, all that looks an awful lot like Grace F. I can't even read that. My foot is the sandcastle smusher. Look at her little foot. Don't be such a babies, make a new one. I'm not going to fix it. And that is the not so super but still good comic. That kind of does look like Grace F. If the big meanie Grace F there. And I just realized I forgot to show you a picture from the page where the girl, she was talking about the girl who likes to burp. And her name is Ruth, and she likes to burp, even though it's a boy thing to do, which I don't really know what that means. Well, I'm sure we'll find out. So she's drinking milk, and then she goes burp, and all the boys go, cool. And then guess who is Sammy Stringer? And that's where we're going to leave off today. We'll pick up tomorrow with the next comic here, Who Will Save the Day. Do we want to just read that really quickly?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, let's do it. Because this is the beginning of the comic, and I think this is how it ends. So let's finish that comic there. Who will save the day? Cloud Girl is here. I have the power to move one tiny raw cloud. Let's say raw. Yeah, raw cloud. Ah! I'm all wet. Soaking wet. I'll have to go home. Yeah, Cloud Girl, our hero. And that's where we'll leave off today. Pretty good comics, I would say. All right, we'll pick up tomorrow at at page 13. Until then.